A cop in Fort Worth, Texas is placed on limited duty, and he is pending an investigation after he responded to a woman's call that her 7-year-old son had been assaulted by a neighbor. Well, the way the cop handled the situation was not necessarily the right way. So the cop was responding to a woman by the name of Jacqueline Craig, and she called police to let them know that a white neighbor of hers had just grabbed her son by the neck for ignoring his order for the 7-year-old to pick up a piece of garbage on the ground, okay? So she calls the cops, and here's how he responds to her and the fact that her 7-year-old had just been assaulted.
So I have a problem with that. My son is 7 years old. You don't have the right to grab him, choke him behind no paper that he threw. What you should have done, because we have been living here for years, so you know that my house is a door in between yours. You could have came to me. Don't put your hands on my son.
Why don't you teach your son not to litter?
I didn't. He can't prove to me that my son littered. But it doesn't matter if he did or didn't. It doesn't give him the right to put his hands on it.
Why not?
Because he don't.
You are loud.
Yes?
Because he don't.
This man just asked my mama why does this white man not have the
Why would you ask me, why don't I teach him? You don't know what I teach him. And you don't, whatever you teach your kids don't mean that they go by your rules when they're not in your face. Because you just pissed me off telling me what I teach my kids and what I don't.
If you keep yelling at me, you're going to piss me off. I'm going to send you to jail.
Oh, no, you're not, okay?
Let him do that. We are on live.
Don't grab her. Don't grab her. Do not grab her. Do not grab her. You're on live. You're on live. Don't move, mama. Move. Don't move. Don't move. You're on live. Everything you just did is on live. I promise you that. I promise you that. You're on live.
Okay, so let me give you more context. Things got out of control when a female family member of hers came to her to kind of like, you know, tell her to step back, like, don't let this escalate. And then that was when the cop grabbed the woman, and then that's when things got out of control. Now, what did the cop say to this mother that made her upset? He said to her, if you didn't hear it in the video, why don't you teach your son not to litter? No. There is a man standing there who has not denied the fact that he grabbed a 7-year-old by the neck, okay? That's assault, okay? It is not her responsibility that someone else grabbed her son by the neck and assaulted him, okay? Yeah. Why don't you teach your son not to litter? First of all, do you know whether or not her son littered? Like, do you have any evidence of that? Why are you immediately accusing her son of littering? And why are you immediately accusing her of not teaching her son the difference between right and wrong? Why the assumptions?
You know, she called him. She called the cop in to help her.
Big mistake.
The neighbor didn't call the cop. She called the cop. Said, "Hey, my kid my 7-year-old got assaulted. Can you help me?"
Was that the neighbor right there in the?
Yeah, he's standing there in the video.
And he says, yeah, he doesn't deny what he did. Okay, and the cop never turned his attention to him. Didn't seem to care because look, you saw it on tape, right? One person he treated as a citizen, and the other one not so much.
Yeah, the opportunities to de-escalate there, he had 1,000. I mean, first of all, you find out if you don't want to make an arrest because this isn't the kind of situation where you want to run somebody and you know it's not going anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm. About the neighbor,
right? You say to the neighbor, "I got an idea. Next time somebody litters, pick it up, mind your own business, right? Mm-hmm. You want to talk to the mother later, you do that. You choke anybody again, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to arrest you. It's going to be aggravated assault. Am I effing clear? Mm-hmm. Right? And to the kid, don't litter, ever. Go back home. Everybody okay? And you go have a burger. And I would say to some extent, you've done your job, right? That is certainly a way to do it where you don't have to arrest the neighbor. But she called the cops. She needs assistance. And then, as you feel it escalating, because you've just said, "Why don't you teach your son not to litter?" When she's like,
"Wait,"
which
is a dumb thing to say, by the way.
100%. And she's like, "Wait, no. Remember, we're talking about the choking, right? Not the littering. One's more important than the other." And so then the kid is a hero, right? Because everybody heard the escalation in the mom's voice a little bit when she's incredulous at what's happening. The kid steps in between them with her back to the police officer as a helping the police officer.
And the cop
helping
grabs her.
to defuse the situation. And she ends up getting tased.
We don't know for sure whether or not he used the taser, but he took the taser out. It's unclear
Yeah,
And he,
so
and he brought
far.
all of them in.
Right.
He arrested the mom.
Yes.
And the daughter, yeah. And so, I mean, maybe he didn't use the taser, but he threatened her at the bare
He
minimum.
took it out.
No, he could go either way.
But he took it out.
At that point, it is so out of control, sir. You have let it get so out of control. It is, I totally agree. It was the daughter who was the one, I think from reading the facts, that the woman in pink was the daughter.
No, I read the story last night without seeing the video. I couldn't make it play.
She's the one who finds an opportunity to adequately de-escalate a
She
situation.
did what you should have done.
The shitty, subtle provocation that the police officer is doing, that we all see in his eye, asking questions that we know the answers to. Why don't you
Also-
teach your son not to litter? I probably do teach
Why
my
don't
son
you
not to
teach
litter.
this white man right
Incidentally-
here to not grab my 7-year-old son by the neck? Anyone who thinks that the women in this case are wrong, just think about your kid. Think about a neighbor grabbing your kid by the neck. You're going to be okay with that? And then when you call a cop for help, you call the cop for help, the cop somehow blames you.
And here's another. If I'm instructing police officers, and I never will, and they'll never want me to, but when you're talking to a citizen who's made a claim, even if you are antagonistic to them, if you're wearing dark glasses, take your I'm in control authoritarian dark glasses off. I guarantee you police believe this. Good cops believe this. Let them see your eyes, communicate with them, stop looking like the Terminator. Like you were not there to, right, you're not there to assert control over the situation. You're there to resolve a situation that could get bad because you have neighbors and they're fighting. It got to the point where a child may have been assaulted and you were called in. Calm down, put him here the way cops do, put him and talk to that woman.
Yeah.
He never talked to her. He just listened and then acted like a dick.
You were called in, find probable cause, if there's still a situation going on, which it seemed like everyone was talking at one point.
Yeah.
And your job is to, if there's probable cause, arrest someone and take them in and find a prosecutor and see if it's time to charge them.
Yes.
And that's what you should be doing. So look at the kid's neck, listen to the mother, listen to the guy on the street, make the call. But don't create a ridiculous situation such as when the mom says he shouldn't choke my son, you ask the question, why not?
You antagonize.
He literally
you-
said, "Why not?"
That is ridiculous.
why
That is
not?
a ridiculous question that we all kind of.
Right.
It vibes with us that's messed up. That is
So-
a messed up question
So-
from a jerk.
The Fort Worth Police Department enjoys a close relationship with our citizens. Their statement, one of transparency, mutual trust, and respect. The police department expects every officer to treat persons they encounter with that same trust, respect, and courtesy. So that he didn't show any respect at any moment, and you know it. We've seen it. We know what to me. I'm not trying to dwell. I'm not saying the worst thing this guy did was keep his glasses on, but he liked that position of control right away. And if you want to reach someone and have a degree of empathy with someone, you reach it. You see it in their eyes. All you have to say is, "Ma'am, I know you're upset, and if I had a 7-year-old son, I wouldn't want him touched by a neighbor either. So I understand. Let's take a deep breath. Let me find out what happened." That's it. That's it. Those words never come out of his mouth.
Go ahead.
So he never checked the 7-year-old, the one that was actually choked in the first place.
Of course he didn't, because he doesn't care about the
Because he doesn't
7-year-old.
care about them. Why do you think it's called Black Lives Matter? Not because they want it to matter more. They just want it to matter at
Could he
all.
have before? Do we know?
No, he didn't. No, that's just his first encounter with them. So he never bothered to question the white neighbor who he was supposed to be investigating in the first place. And so, look, if you don't think that it has a racial component, let me ask you two things. One, you think that the situation is reversed. A black neighbor choked a white 7-year-old kid, and the cop comes and says to the white woman who called him in, "So why can't that guy choke your 7-year-old?" Yeah, why not, right? Oh, wait, you continue to complain about your kid getting choked by this black guy. No, I'm going to arrest you. Okay, you live on a different planet. I can't talk to you because you're never going to believe it. You're no matter how many facts we show you, no matter how many studies we show you, how many disproportionate effects, no matter how many videos you see. Nope. They would if a big black guy is choking a 7-year-old white kid, the cop would have reacted the same way. Okay, all right, I can't get through to you, right? So okay, then let's talk about the second part of it. He gets called in to help her. Why didn't he ever turn his attention to the person who allegedly did the choking? because he thought, you can see it right there. I mean, like, he's got the authoritarian thing. I hate the authoritarian thing. Sometimes you need that to calm a situation down. But remember that it's a means to an end. The end is supposed to be you calm things down, not escalate them, right? But in this situation, you didn't need it from the beginning. But where did he direct it? Where did he direct his authoritarian, I'm in charge and I'm going to manhandle everybody here? He didn't direct it at the person who did the choking. He directed it immediately at the person who asked him for help. Why do you think he made that conclusion? Why do you think he never even looked at the white guy in that video that we saw? And he just kept looking at her like, what are you going to do? And then when you get into...
I would have had that guy go into his house. I would have said, sir, go. I'll talk to you in a moment. Stay in that house.
Or
go
put your
sit.
hands behind your back. I'm going to sit you down on the
Right,
curb.
sure, that's better. Go, you sit on the curb right over there, and you speak to me when I speak to you.
Look, if race was not an issue in this case at all, it would still be atrocious.
Absolutely.
So, and oftentimes they do it to white people too. But the reason I bring this up in this context is because I want you to understand what the black perspective is. They call for help from the cops and they get manhandled. And then you ask them, why don't you love cops? That's why they don't love cops. Because when they ask for their 7-year-old to be protected, they get manhandled, assaulted, and arrested. The 15-year-old who was trying to de-escalate didn't get out of jail until the next day. I mean, for Christ's sake, you know the 15-year-old didn't do anything. He then went and went after the person who was filming. Now, she has every right in the world to film. And
Thank God she did.
And he's like, oh yeah, your phone is evidence. And he goes to get the phone from her, touches her, and as he's doing it, he says, quote, you touch me and you're going to jail. But she didn't touch you, you touched her,
Yeah,
right?
well,
and the 15-year-old didn't come to escalate, she came to de-escalate. So in both cases, you're the one who takes the aggressive action and then arrested him. And the thing that is my biggest pet peeve, they're all arrested for resisting arrest. Well, what were they getting arrested for in the first place?
She had outstanding traffic warrants.
No, but he didn't know that, right?
Of course not. Right.
I know.
That's
So
nonsense.
you can't attack someone as a cop and then arrest them for resisting arrest because there was nothing to arrest them for in the first place. That is a charge that cannot stand alone. If you're a judge or you're a commanding officer in his police department and a cop comes to you and says, I arrested somebody for resisting arrest, the first question has to be, what were they getting arrested for in the first place?
What was their resistance to?
Right. So if you tell me that, I don't know, I made up something, I was kind of, I just arrested them for arresting them, right?
Isn't that what we say? When this happens, we say that, right?
Yeah.
Doing what we do.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Then you should be suspicious and think, hey, maybe there's an issue here. And with one of the other people that was arrested, he threw in resisting arrest and interfering with a public duty. Your duty was to them, not against them. Let's go take on the corporate media. Come join us, be a member, and change the media. tytnetwork.com/join.